no way that you can lead from within except leadership being a thing that starts with you. Which means for me, if you are going to lead from within, I know you will define it in different ways, but for me, if you are leading from within, it means you are able to lead yourself successfully before you can take any leadership position. We have a serious problem, especially in Africa, in many spheres of our countries, in government departments, in private sector, where people are rushing and are killing each other for positions, yet they can't lead themselves given an opportunity. We have seen young men of respect out there, especially in Africa. I have studied very closely, especially in my country, and I'm not here to badmouth my own country, but I have seen people rushing for a position when they can't literally lead themselves, let alone their family. For those that are married, and I was fortunately enough to be naive, and I got married when I was very young. I was 23. Don't ask me what was I smoking, but yeah. Very young, I was doing my first degree. Last year of my first degree. It was 4 days before exam. I think I was trying to run away from the exam. Unfortunately, the university was like, no honeymoon for you. You need to come back for the exam. So we have seen leaders in Africa failing to lead themselves, failing to lead their own families, failing to lead their own marriages. Whether it's female or male, the aspect of leadership should start from within. It can't be that you are leading a church that has got 5,000 people, but you don't know how to lead yourself. There are people, when you look at their character and their position, you get so worried. Yes. Because you're wondering, how is this person of this character leading a massive company, leading a massive organization that has got so many people that needs to be led. So for me, when you are going to take up the issue of leadership, whether you are going to be employed as a head of department, whether you are going to be employed as a lecturer, whether you are going to be employed anywhere, especially in a position of leadership, you need to understand that leadership comes and it should start with you. And if you can't lead yourself at the moment, can you be comfortable with sitting down, please? Because there's a problem if you can't lead from within. You will go and watch YouTube videos and come and lead us. You will go and watch YouTube videos and come and speak of leadership and leading people. In fact, what you are going to see is what we have seen. I don't know where you're coming from, but where I see people leading on social media instead of leading people. People are great leaders on social media. People are doing amazing things on social media because social media has granted us an opportunity to fake your life to the core. So we have got leaders who are respected over there because they were able to brand themselves. They were good in hiring a team that runs his or her PR, making him a great leader out there. When you come closer though, you can see that there is nothing here. And you know why I'm saying there is nothing here? When you come closer and you start engaging this person personally, you want to figure out what they have done for themselves. Not achievements, not watches, not suits. What they have done for themselves. How have they shaped their own lives? How have they shaped their own marriage? How they've shaped their children? Because for me, as much as we would love young people people taking up position for leadership, but I don't want us to forget that leadership comes with maturity. And you should be matured before you can take up leadership. I don't care how long does it take for you to be matured. We have got 15-year-olds that can lead, but can lead at their level. There has been a biggest mistake in Africa where someone, because they can speak good English, they are now leaders. We are led by young girls and young boys who are 65 years old, by the way. This person is a young boy. When you start engaging, they are just 15 years old. I see them every time. And we are going for elections here in 7 December. They are going for elections in my country, 29 May. I was hoping they would say 30 May because it's my 11th anniversary. I was thinking I was going to be in the UK. They will be electing young girls and young boys who are 55 years old. They have nothing to show for themselves except going every day, going to fight for being in that church that they don't deserve. So leadership should start with you. And if you can't, I normally tell the team that I lead in Make a Mark Africa Youth Development, a huge team that runs different programs within the organization. I normally tell them that if you are still failing to lead yourself, get out of my programs. Get out of the leadership. I can't lead with someone who can't handle themselves. I don't drink alcohol. I don't have a problem with people who are drinking alcohol. But there is a way. There are millions of people who are drinking alcohol, but they don't behave like our young leaders, like some of our leaders, people who are in positions. I normally tell them there is nothing wrong as long as you can't handle your behavior. You are not worth to be a leader. You need to be able to lead yourself successfully and shape your life. You can't be a 25-year-old and behave like a 10-year-old and want to be the head of a department. It doesn't work like that. Let's go to the last slides. It's like this is the last one. As you can see, there's nothing. Okay, so let us quickly look at the issue of self-awareness and introspection, because the idea of leadership from within it requires that you are aware. And one of the challenges that we are having in this country, in many African countries, we are being led by people that aren't aware. They are just members of these glorious organizations, but they are not aware. Do you know why they are not aware? If you want to find out, and I'm deeply sorry if there is a politician here, it will sound as if I'm attacking anybody. I'm not, definitely. Do you know why I'm saying they are not aware? It is only our leaders, the people who are in leadership, including us, because I know some of you are in leadership. When you ask them, how did this thing happen? They will say, Angazi. What does Angazi, who knows Angazi in English? I was just testing. It means I'm far away from home. Angazi means I don't know. Our leaders, they will tell you, I don't know. Hey, we have a big pothole there. How did we have a pothole over? I don't know. They are not aware. Do you know, they are not even aware that having this lifestyle, I've almost pointed out this kind of lifestyle where they are abusing our young sisters so much. It is making them look so cheap and unworthy of leadership. They are not aware. And awareness and introspection, you can't separate the two. I think the introspection was supposed to be this side. Because once you sit down and ask yourself, what does it mean that I'm leading this organization? What does it mean that I'm leading this department? What does it mean that I'm responsible for these 2 people? What does it mean that I'm responsible for these 10 people? Once you sit down and be aware, you will realize that it doesn't need for you to have millions to be able to be a good leader. And I always say this, and many people, I was speaking to a community engagement officer at the University of Johannesburg, and she was like, Sanele, what do you mean? I was like, the minute in my organization, the minute you are saying, hey Sanele, we are going to do this program, the minute we start having money, I kick you out of my programs. The minute you start waiting for funding, I kick you out of my organization. Because what I've seen with people who are waiting for funding, they're not necessarily waiting for funding so that they can start running projects. They are waiting for funding so that they can steal. For me, these 2, they create self-sustainability. Once you are aware that for you to lead, it doesn't mean you have to read 25 books a month. It starts with waking up, brushing your teeth, making sure that you don't just drop a piece of paper on the floor, making sure that when you meet someone, you say, hi, how are you doing? Making sure that when you wake up, you say hi to your kids. You don't become a roommate with your partner. That's leadership for me.
Oh, yes.
You can't come and lead us. You can't come and lead us when you walk up like a rabbit in your house. When a rabbit, in fact, a rabbit is peacefully sleeping, by the way. It's just dogs that wakes it up so harshly. We have people who are leading big organizations, their children don't even know them. It's been a month.
Yeah, right. That's true.
They are not aware. There is no self-introspection. There is no self-awareness. Infrastructure is falling apart. Young people are falling apart. Young people are in drugs in Africa. Young people are killed daily in Africa. Our children, our mothers, it's a mess. It's a mess in Africa. Yet we still continue to sit in rooms such as this and have this beautiful echo and speak about leadership. I think the minute someone invites you to speak about leadership, you just need to start asking yourself first, have I led? Have I led? Because, flying all the way, I had a very terrible flight. I'm not going to say which airline. I had a terrible flight, flying all the way from South Africa. The question is, Sanele, you are speaking of leadership. Have you led? How have you led your life? Is your life an example of leadership itself, without being given an organization to lead, without being given a department to lead? Has your life been an example of leadership? Because if you can't show that, for me, we are wasting our time to invite you. Please don't invite me. Please don't invite me into your countries. If you can't see leadership, if you can't see leadership, don't invite me. I can't be having shoes with shoelaces all over the place and then you invite me to come and speak about leadership when I haven't led. Hey, you should look nice, man. You should make sure you are shaved. You're a good looking person. You have successfully led yourself. You show that you, let me sit down before the MC chase me. How leaders who are tuned to their own values, strengths, and weaknesses can effectively lead with authenticity, empathy, and integrity. I think for me, the minute, just to answer this and I sit down, for me, the minute you have a leader that has values, it respects other people's values. The minute you have a leader that doesn't have any values, you have the mess that we see outside. For me, if you have got a leader that recognizes, remember this whole with leading from within, if you understand your strength, you will understand other people's strength. And you with self-introspection, you will understand that sometimes you do feel weak. So you don't patronize people who are weak. You don't victimize people who are weak. In fact, you create programs to help them become great people. But in Africa, we have seen leaders who have no values. And because they have no values, they don't see their strengths. They can't cultivate their strength. They mess up everyone. They victimize everyone. Wherever they are, people are crying. In fact, they're happy that we are here because they are taking a break. When they hear that we are traveling to speak somewhere, they're like, we can have coffee. When a leader knows that there is something called weakness, self-awareness and self-introspection makes you understand where you are weak. And when someone pointed out to say, Sanele, I think on this side you need to improve, you don't become arrogant. We have leaders in Africa who, when they are told, say, I think this is a mistake. Do you know who I am? How dare you? Stay in your own lane. Leadership that is not self-aware. In fact, that leader preys on other people's weaknesses. And I don't know why we award this type of leadership. And I saw that there would be awards here. So I don't know why we award those leaders. I don't know why we give them so much power. Because we are in this mess as a continent because we continue to embrace things that shouldn't be embraced. We embrace leaders that can't take care of their own kids. We embrace leaders that have kids all over the street. We continue to give those leaders power. You can't lead with authenticity. Okay, my English data just lapsed. I'm trying to pronounce that word, which means leading genuinely. You're not faking it. And you can't lead. You can't have leadership that shows no fake within you if you don't understand, if you don't have values, if you don't understand your strengths, if you don't understand your weaknesses. You will not have empathy as a leader. You will be okay with chowing that budget. You know that budget that you sit over? You will be okay with eating that budget because you have no values. That last one, it's an issue, especially in Africa. The issue of integrity. It's one that is a serious issue. Again, my question is, ladies and gents, why do we continue to give these people power? People who have no integrity. People who can lead. People who can just lead anyhow. When their lives is telling us this person is not worth leadership, why do we continue giving them power to lead? We need, in Africa, I normally say, and this is not campaigning anything and anyone, I said we don't need elections to change our countries. We don't need to change leadership to change our countries. We need people who are full of integrity. And there is no amount of politicians who are going to change Africa unless, as Africans, we are full of integrity. We have a serious disease of wanting people to be full of integrity, to be honest when we can't be honest ourselves. We are complaining about Malema. We are complaining about Jacob Zuma. We are complaining about Ramaphosa. But you are Ramaphosa in your own corner. You are complaining about President so-and-so who is stealing money. But the leak that you get, you steal up to nothing. As if you're stealing stealing doesn't contribute to the bigger stealing. I don't know if there's something called that. I'm just making words as I sit down. We need a society that is full of integrity. The leaders that we want to see, that we hope to see, are from the society, are from our community. They are us. They are a true representation of who we are. And if we can't change, ladies and gentlemen, if we can't change, we can't expect leaders to change. There is nothing called that. Before I'm kicked from the stage, I just want to say the issue of leadership. I want to emphasize this. The issue of leadership will never be realized anywhere in the world if we can't lead from within.